can hear you being quiet, Mom.
I hope I didn't ice your game, man.
No one my age says those words in that order.
It's just hard to see my little man not being my little boy all the time.
Yeah.
For years, I've been taking care of this little boy. Making sure he is loved, that he feels like he belongs wherever he wants to be. He wants to go out into the world and do great big things.
Not bad, kid.
And what I worry about most
I love you, Miles.
is they won't look out for you like us.
Miles!
Want to get out of here? Wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from. And he never doubts that he is loved. And he never lets anyone tell him that he doesn't belong there. You gotta promise, Miles.
I promise.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They just dropped a new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, a billion versions of Spider-Man in there. So we'll break it all down. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Even though the first 90% of the trailer is meant to be a flashback to show you what's happened to Miles in his Earth, the ultimate Earth, since the events of the first movie, like him just being Spider-Man, trying to be a better Spider-Man. The last little bit of the trailer starts to tease you about what the actual plot of the movie is. And the whole idea is that he runs afoul of Spider-Man 2099, who we saw in the post-credit scene from the first movie, who's with another team of multiverse versions of Spider-Man, trying to clean up the damage to the multiverse that the reactor caused during the events of the first movie. They don't explain what it is that he's doing that goes against what they want to do, like what puts them at odds. But the whole idea is that Spider-Man 2099 that's leading this multiverse team thinks that they're doing the right thing, which is why you hear that line in the trailer where he says, "What do you think that you're doing? We're the good guys." And the way that Spider-Gwen is talking to him makes it sound like they're not being the good guys. That's a very Captain America Civil War type of argument that like Iron Man and Captain America would have. Like, do we kill somebody if it's going to protect the multiverse, or do we allow them to live? It might have something to do with how they deal with the villain of the film, who's meant to be the Spot character, who will also be the villain of the second film, because it's a two-part film. Remember, they're doing the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame thing with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, so part 1 is just called Across the Spider-Verse, part 2 is called Beyond the Spider-Verse. That'll release in 2024, just a year later. So even though they make it seem like this multiverse group of Spider-Man are the villains of this film, they're not. It's more of a Captain America Civil War situation. But just starting at the beginning of the trailer, they start with the same type of logo. It's a brand new version of the logo, but it's the same type of logo that they did in the first film where they glitch between the different types of comic book art. It's been a couple years since the events of the first movie. Miles Morales is a little bit older. He's tried to be Spider-Man for the past couple of years. You see a couple of his adventures throughout this first part of the trailer as his mother is talking to him, being sad that he's growing up so fast. The other added detail here too, if you turn the subtitles on the Twitter version of the trailer, the subtitles that they uploaded for the trailer are actually in the comic book style of the movie. The Brooklyn jersey he's wearing is because that's where he's from. He's from Brooklyn. The number 42 is the number 42 spider that bit Spider-Man to give him the powers. It was also meant to be a reference in the original comic book version of the character, the comic book Miles Morales, to Jackie Robinson's number 42, which is also the Brooklyn jersey. Another Marvel Easter egg, who was played by Chadwick Boseman a couple years ago before he passed away. May he rest in peace. They flash back to the events of the first movie where he gets the Halloween costume. Great Stan Lee cameo, especially the moment where he says, "No refunds." May he rest in peace. Basically a quick recap of the events of the first movie. This scene in his lab of all the costumes and their cases also foreshadowing the many versions of Spider-Man that we're going to see from the multiverse. Also, most of the major characters from the first movie came back, like Peter B. Parker is back wearing the baby carrier because at the end of the first movie he got back together with his version of Mary Jane. They had a child together. It's probably a version of Mayday Parker from the comics. Like, I'm gonna come help you save the multiverse, but I'm on babysitting duty today, so I gotta bring the baby with me. But don't worry, the baby has powers too. It can take care of itself. Like, give me Baby Yoda, but Spider-Man. She also gets Spider-Man's powers and becomes a version of Spider-Man when she gets older. This is where they show you one of the adventures that he had after the events of the first movie, saving a group of people from this cab. It looks like he's already got his new costume during this, just because the logo looks a little bit different from the original costume that he had spray painted on. This is the scene from the first trailer that we saw where Spider-Gwen comes to visit him after the events of the first movie to just see what's been going on. This is some of the footage that we saw during the first trailer with him entering the Spider-Verse, traveling across the multiverse. When we're talking about across the Spider-Verse into the Spider-Verse comics, it's called the Spider-Verse. It's a different way of describing the multiverse, but it's the same basic concept. The way they're able to do that is they use the WebWare wristwatches that you saw in the post-credit scene that Spider-Man 2099 created. It allows them to travel the multiverse at will. That even though most of the footage focuses on this multiverse base where all the different multiverse versions of Spider-Man have assembled, they said the movie would have 6 distinct art styles for all the different universes that they travel to. The ones that we know about are the main Ultimate Universe that Miles Morales comes from, Spider-Man India's universe that we saw in the first trailer, Spider-Man 2099's universe in Nueva York, we also saw that in the last trailer, Spider-Gwen's universe, Earth 65, and then we don't know what the other 2 are, like maybe the Spot's home universe because he's meant to be the villain of the film, and you can guess what the other art style is going to be, like what the other universe will visit. But remember, the whole idea is that Spider-Man 2099 has assembled all these different Spider-Man from across the multiverse to fix the damage that the reactor caused Kingpin built in the first movie. As they zoom out, they start showing you many different versions of Spider-Man, pretty much every single version you could think of from the comics. Like they even have Spider-Man PS4 from the video game here. His costume was actually featured during the first movie, if you remember. So they already kind of canonized the events of the game to this multiverse. The one that we saw in Peter Parker's lab is just one that he wore at some point during his history. They even have a version of Spider-Cop, which is relatively new, that they also feature in the Spider-Man PS4 game. And they have the Bombastic Bagman, even though he's not wearing the Fantastic Four part of the costume, he's just wearing the bag part. That was from an adventure in the comics where Spider-Man didn't have his costume available and he was leaving the Fantastic Four, so he needed a bag to hide his identity, so he wore a regular brown bag while he web-slung home. This is Miles still inside that same lab area wearing his new costume with Spider-Gwen. Peter B. Parker comes back, he's wearing the baby carriage, but he's walking upside down. Remember, these are all versions of Spider-Man with versions of Spider-Man's powers, slightly different powers each, but very similar ones. That's why you see them walking casually upside down all over the place. Obviously the joke here is that the two of them are sitting upside down because they're using their powers to stick to the ledge here. Then I believe that this is meant to be the Spider-Verse version of Issa Rae's Jessica Drew character. Like this is a version of Spider-Woman, but it's a multiverse Jessica Drew. It looks like she's attacking a version of the Vulture. This is Miles and Gwen confronting Spider-Man 2099 without his mask on. The picture he's looking at here looks like a version of his daughter, like he lost his daughter at some point. This is his hand, he's wearing one of the WebWare wristwatches. He gets to go out on another mission with Jessica Drew. And this is Peter B. Parker, Miles, and Gwen talking to him, Spider-Man 2099, in this Nexus area where he gets ready to go out on another mission with portals to a bunch of different universes. Obviously, the way they visualize this is meant to be an Easter egg for the web of life and destiny. Like it's a giant cosmic spider web that connects the entire multiverse. The whole idea of his mother's voiceover speech is meant to be the idea that he belongs here just as much as the other versions of Spider-Man belong here. I think that's going to be one of the conflicts of the film, where Spider-Man 2099 basically tells him to go home and stop messing with stuff. The way the producers explained it is that Spider-Gwen has been invited to join this multiverse Spider-Force by Spider-Man 2099 with all the other versions, but Miles is not allowed on the team. So it's like the Simpsons episode with the No Homers Club. Like, oh, you're letting in all the other versions of Spider-Man, why not me too?
I now call to order the first meeting of the Ancient Mystic Society of No Homers.
Hey, fellas, can I join?
Sorry? No Homers.
And then they show the scene where basically like every single version of Spider-Man from the multiverse goes after Miles Morales because he's trying to do something that goes against whatever their mission is. Like I said, it's going to be a very Captain America Civil War type of conflict where you have like two groups of people trying to do the good thing, but being at odds with each other over what it is that they're supposed to do. So like Spider-Man 2099 isn't supposed to be evil or anything like that, even though they make him seem kind of like a villain during this. And it's meant to be pretty much every single version of Spider-Man you've ever seen in the Spider-Verse comics or in the Spider-Man comic books in general. This is just another scene of Spider-Man 2099 without his mask off, all pissed off at Miles. And it is Oscar Isaac coming back to voice the character. They flash a couple different comic book styles as they get ready to travel across universes. All these scenes are from the first trailer that we saw with Spider-Man 2099 grabbing Miles Morales and throwing him back to their base. They're inside Spider-Man 2099's universe here in Nueva York. There's so many different versions of Spider-Man, you could probably watch the trailer a billion times and spot more of them. Like I said, pretty much every single version you've ever thought of, and most of the ones that are in the PS4 game, and a bunch of them are versions wearing the costumes you saw in Peter Parker's underground bunker in the first movie, just from the multiverse. There's Werewolf Spider-Man. Remember, we have Ben Reilly in the movie. I already talked about Jessica Drew. There's Spider-Man Unlimited from that cartoon. There's a version of Spider-Man from Spider-Man the Animated Series in the 90s. There's probably versions of a couple of the cartoon versions of Spider-Man. The only one that we don't see in the trailer that I can't find is Japanese Spider-Man. They said he'd be in the movie, but I didn't spot him in the trailer, but he's probably somewhere in the background here. Post all the ones that you spotted in the trailer down below in the comments, and let me know which one is your favorite version of Spider-Man. They posted another video in addition to the trailer. I'll do a video for that next that should post in the next day or so. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everyone click here to watch that video. I'll update the link as soon as I post it. And click here for that other Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.